100. We are live at the World of Wellness. I'm your host today and this week, Jamie Dorley, and a very special guest. And we're so excited to welcome everyone here, but no more than this person right here, the CGO, that's our Chief Growth Officer of World of Wellness and Nutritional Frontiers. Welcome, Kristine Glein.
Well, thank you. I love being here. It's so great. There's so much energy. People are buzzing around, already getting great Christmas gifts.
And I got chills. I'm so excited to have you here live. I first met Kristine, what was that, almost 50 years ago? 50,
feels like
50
it.
years ago, right? But when I first met her, sometimes you meet somebody, their energy is so great, and you can tell right away that somebody you want to get to know more. And that was Kristine, who became my life coach.
Yep.
Right. And I said, what's the difference between a therapist and a coach? And what did you tell me?
Oh, well, typically a therapist is somebody that wants to understand like how you got so messed up and you got to this point, and a coach actually wants to take you from where you are today with where you want to go.
Yeah, enough people were telling me how messed up
you were.
Yeah. So I was like, all right, I want somebody to actually help me get better.
Excellent.
You know, it was very tough. We just honored Dr. Weiner. It's been 5 years gone already. That was a very stressful time for our entire team and for me included. So you really helped rebuild me with your incredible program, Soul Intelligence. So what does that mean, Soul Intelligence?
Well, that's a great place to start, Jamie. Thank you. Well, obviously, everybody has a sense of their IQ, right? We've heard about IQ. We understand our intelligence level. Then there's EQ, right? It was very popular for the last 20 years or so for people to understand emotional intelligence, and how you say what you say is probably more important than what you're actually saying. And
how you say it?
How you say it. That's part of it.
Well,
Your delivery.
No one has a better delivery than you, and I might be on the other end of the spectrum, I've been told. So, hey, we're all work in progress, right?
That's right. So the soul intelligence is really about tapping into your inner knowing and understanding how your thoughts and emotions can truly affect your physical body, right? So it's becoming even more aware of what thoughts and emotions do to your body.
Yeah, and it was a great connection because that's the next level of what we do at World of Wellness with the physical medicine, the nutrition, and the lifestyle. And you bring in your expertise and bringing that soul intelligence was really, for me, the missing component.
Yeah, so making the world healthy, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually and energetically. It's all of those things. So what I do is I really work with people on the root causes, like what's the root cause of the problem. And typically, as you know, if there is a recurring condition, especially if somebody's having a chronic illness, they can't seem to get better, or you fix one thing and then something else goes awry, it's because you're not getting to that underlying cause. So as much as we do that with nutritional support in the physical body, what really helps move the needle is if you can get to what that emotional cause is. Because emotions are energy in motion. And when emotions become stuck, or pushed down, or suppressed, or ignored, that's what causes a dissonance in your frequency. So since I'm kind of talking energy, I better talk energy for a second, right? So energy, we are all energetic beings. We learned in 7th grade science class, right, that we're all protons, neutrons, electrons. We all have an energetic field around us, but we kind of forget about that, right? We see each other in the physical. I can touch your arm. I know you're solid. But right now, we're able to come to you because of the internet. You can't see it, but somehow, magically, right, we're transported. Or you hear music. Again, you can't see it, but you feel it. That's because we're all vibration. And so emotions also vibrate at different levels. As a matter of fact, Dr. David Hawkins did a lot of studying on measuring emotions. So certain emotions like fear and anxiety, all of those stressful emotions, even perfectionism, really pull people down, right? They're at the lower end. They vibrate in the alpha range. So you got alpha, beta, theta, and delta. And when you're meditating, you get up in that theta range. That's when you're in that little Zen space. So those motions really, really pull people down.
So you can get to these levels, but you don't always stay at the level, right?
That's true.
So that is the challenge, right?
That is the challenge.
And when you're saying, the cure, we always say run for the cause.
Right.
And that's exactly what we're doing. We have Dr. Orbach here, who does the structural and physical medicine, right? We do the muscle therapy, the nutrition. Maybe talk to us a little bit about how your experience differed when you came on board, because I know some of your family members were able to get improvement in their health using some of the techniques combining what we do.
Absolutely. One of the coolest things was, my mission obviously was helping to make the world healthy, as is our premise here at the World of Wellness. And I was doing it from an energetic side, right? So getting to the root cause. Well, physically, using the nutraceuticals, we've been able to, along with the energy work, be able to help shift people. So in my personal life, my husband in particular was diagnosed with prostate cancer and had to have his prostate removed. He had to go through 7 weeks of radiation, and neither of those things brought his PSA markers down, which is what you measure to see if somebody has the propensity to still have cancer in their body, right? It's one of the markers. And so we did pretty much everything. We went to Mayo Clinic in Jacksonville, and they told us the only thing we could do is take the rest of the testosterone out of his body. I'm like, he's already exhausted, right? He's already exhausted. He doesn't feel himself as it is. And I'm like, I don't want to have someone that's going to be like totally drained all the time. So I'm like, that's not an answer. So that's when I was like, okay, Jamie, hook me up. What can we do? So I called Jamie, and he referred me to Dr. Len Bransowitz, who's an amazing doctor and pharmacist, and certainly a friend of Nutritional Frontiers in the World of Wellness. And he recommended that we do two things. We take Power Cleanse, which is a shake, and add the Proline greens to that shake every day. He said, let's just test what happens after about 6 weeks.
Yeah, and these are food-based, right? So
Absolutely.
When you talk about frequency, that's why I was thinking this, because a lot of people, they look at toxicity as always pulling something out, but also what do you put back in? And when you talk about toxicity, it could be the food lowering someone's energy, maybe some of the thoughts, right? So I like how you tie that all together, and using something like that was more of a food-based nutrient rather than just another supplement.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So he did what we call the Shake a Day Club, right, for about 6 weeks. And then we had his blood tested again. And for the first time in 2 years, the PSA marker went down. So we were really excited. And so he was more encouraged to continue with the shake. But we still have skeptics in our family, and he is a self-proclaimed skeptic, okay? Even though he saw improvement, he wasn't sure, was it just the shake? Now, trust me when I tell you that's all he did besides what I do, energy work for him, that was it. So he then went to Mayo Clinic in Rochester, the big show. And he met with the doctors there, had all the scans, the tests, the blood work done again, and $8,000 copay later, we were told that...
that's for insurance reimbursement, right?
Yes.
So, often people think the insurance is free.
No, yeah.
You got to pay for the insurance premium, or the company does, and then these copays can get very high at times.
Yeah, absolutely. So that was for 1 day's care, by the way. 1 day's worth of testing. He met with the doctor, and the doctor goes, your PSA is right within normal range. Whatever you're doing, keep doing it. So to this day... everybody that encouraged him and his family to go to Mayo says, take your shake. So you have to support the physical body, the mental body, the emotional body, essentially the energetic body, right? Because we are all energy. And we tend to pick up on other people's energy and absorb energy. So sometimes that's positive, depending on who you surround yourself with, and sometimes that's not. So you really need to be careful.
Yeah, that's why when I first met you via... the new version, Dr. Lisa Coach was doing one of her videos in her podcast, and she's a great friend of yours and ours. And when I first met you, it was like that energy I can actually feel through Facebook, right?
It's true.
So maybe talk a little more about that, because I think oftentimes people around certain other people, maybe they're not a good match, or somebody's energies are lower or higher. What do you do in those situations?
So you have to kind of be very much aware of your space, right? Aware of your energy, aware of your surroundings. Because as you said, you can pick up toxicity. You can pick up toxicity, right, in your physical body just like you can in your energetic body. So I don't know if you've ever been around somebody. There was a person in my life, and every time I was around them, I would feel myself get anxious and change. And it took me until my adult life to realize I'm absorbing, I'm feeling their emotions. I'm feeling what they're going through, what they're sensing. And I'm sure if someone's gone through being around someone who's sick or someone that they love that's going through a really hard time, you almost take on their stuff, like you feel it physically in your body. And so that's not really healthy. So to your point, what do? Well, before you get yourself into that situation, you want to be aware of your energy and maybe call in some protection, whether that's you putting, a triple H shield around, whether that's talking to the divine, whether that's being out in nature and literally asking to shift or move through your body what no longer serves you. There are lots of different ways that you can clear energy. And I even have a method that I call the soul intelligence method, where I use a book of charts and a pendulum, and I can get really accurate to tell you exactly what needs to shift.
Well, that's what I like, being open-minded to all these different therapies. And in our field of wellness, there's all types of different ways to do this, but there's often nothing that's for everybody.
Right.
So I like that your system helps so much. So just as someone could have a negative energy, so like you're such a positive, high, glowing frequency.
Thank you very much.
So how can we raise our vibration? And you taught me a lot of these strategies. I think the one thing you just mentioned was being out in nature. Mm-hmm. Right, and the other part that I heard too is, we tend, at least guys or me, tend to maybe stuff some emotions down, and I think you can stuff so much, and then what happens?
Oh, what happens, Jamie? Is there an explosion?
It could be an implosion.
It could be an implosion.
Or it could be an explosion. Either one of those can be very dangerous and damaging.
Of course.
Especially to the ones we love the most.
Yes.
Which is yourself. It should be.
Should be you.
And your loved ones and family and friends and coworkers. So.
Absolutely. Yeah, so there's a lot of different ways. I mean, one of the things that I do is I really highly encourage everybody to have a daily practice, and what do I mean by a daily practice? So whether you take time out to do reading, okay, whether that's like some spiritual guidance or positive messages or journal or meditate, right? I know a lot of people, especially type A's like me, and you, have a hard time meditating. So listening to a guided meditation that actually gets you to raise your vibration into a theta state. One of my absolute favorite ways to change your energy is to laugh. Okay, laughter.
We laughed a lot yesterday, didn't we?
Yeah, we did.
It's the best medicine for me.
So that literally laughter can change your vibration pretty instantly.
Yes.
But also just being aware, right? Emotions like love and, getting yourself, one of my favorite, actually, maybe we'll do it. Maybe we'll do it right now. Okay, if you're with us right now, I just want you to close your eyes for a second. I want you to feel into the center of your chest, your heart center. That's usually where that eternal part of you is, that divine spark of white light within the center being. And I just want you to think about someone, something, or someplace that you absolutely love. So whether that's a pet that you adore and love snuggling with, whether that's being on the beach and just listening to the waves crash into the shore, whether that's being out in nature and you hear birds, or you just hear the rush of the wind on your face at the top of a mountain, whether it's that significant, special someone that you adore, think back to when you first fell in love. You can open your eyes. You see how quickly you shift your vibration when you can move up into love, into that state?
I felt a lot better right away. No, seriously, I was thinking, where I was thinking. Originally, I was thinking the beach, and I says, the vibration on the boat, right? So we had a really fortunate summer. We were actually able to go on a nice, cozy boat a couple of times down by the river, and just being with family and friends on there, and then the motion of the water.
Absolutely.
Right? And you can just get right back to that place. And I think that's where I am most at home, is being in nature. Yeah,
well, I think that is something I think we take for granted. But in the middle of your day, if you can take a break and go outside and just connect with nature, like walk, listen to the birds, shift your environment. Nature naturally brings it brings us into alignment. You know, there's the universal sound called Om that you might hear when you're at the beach in particular, but there's actually a rhythm and a vibration that you can sense through the earth. And a technique called grounding. You may have heard that.
Yeah,
but
we
taking
have
your
the book
feet off.
grounding here at the Wellness Center, yeah.
Yeah, taking your feet off. I meant your shoes. Taking your shoes off and walking barefoot outside. Sometimes you can actually really feel that energy. You know, you heard about people hugging trees. Well, if you can feel vibration, that is another way that you can connect.
I guess it depends on what the tree looks like, right? You know?
Yeah, exactly. But all of this is founded in science, okay? I know some people out there are going, really? But it is founded in science. I mentioned to you, everybody and everything is energy. We know we're all protons, neutrons, electrons, carbon, all of that material. And energy, everybody has an energetic vibration. So you actually radiate energy. That's why when you snuggle with someone in bed, you get really hot, right? You know, that energy starts building. And when we're physically healthy, we're able to, deal with our stress and our emotions better. As a matter of fact, this is a study called bioenergetics, okay? And so bioenergetics has been around since the 1950s, and it was developed by a man named Alexander Lowen, a doctor. And he basically was a psychoanalyst who understood that physical ailments are rooted in unconscious psychic conflict. And he basically expanded on this concept to include the notion that chronic stress could also lead to mental health issues, physical health issues. And so it's really the connection between your emotions and your physical body.
Yeah, I think that's where our mission is, making the world healthy. We really want to find out what are the underlying causes. Mm-hmm. We've identified 4 main categories, one of which is being stress.
Yep.
Right, and I think people think of stress as like, oh, they're pressures for money or work or something, but this goes a lot deeper, right, with
Absolutely.
This bioenergy. Can you explain a little more about that? Because people may not realize that they can fix it. And that's really what we're trying to do, right?
Absolutely. So you may have also heard of quantum physics. Okay, so quantum physics is really the study of energy, right? And how matter materializes, how things come into form, how things come into being. And so everything starts with a thought. Okay, that's the electric spark of the electromagnetic field. But what magnifies things, what bring things into you are your emotions, right? That's why emotions are so powerful. As a matter of fact, they've measured the energy field around your brain and the energy field around your heart. Now, the energy field around your heart...
Well, you have a big heart, so...
It's 6 foot wide.
Wow.
Okay? 6 feet. We couldn't stand...
Oh, yeah,
we had to
couldn't be 6 feet.
Yeah, okay. Anyway, so your heart is much larger than the 2 feet around your brain, yet we spend so much time on here, right? The other thing that's really damaging that we tend to hold on to...
You know, I'm sorry, but that just really clicked when you said it, because I've heard her say this before. But when you say you spend so much time here, and she always says, lead with your heart, right? Which is going to radiate a lot bigger.
Right, and change your vibe, too, right? It's actually more powerful, more potent than our brains.
So to go back what you explained earlier, so when you come in distance to somebody, and if they're in their head more than their heart, you can feel that.
Oh,
is that part of the energetic change?
Absolutely.
Good. I'm learning. I'm a late bloomer, so it's starting to click.
So the other thing that's really damaging to us are repetitive thoughts known as beliefs, right?
And are those beliefs usually really positive or
well, we call them self-limiting beliefs for a reason, right? Things like I'm not good enough, or I can't win, or I'm invisible. There are a lot of self-limiting beliefs that we have, but those are things that cloud the way we see the world, and then we start pulling in additional situations to reinforce those beliefs. So that's something else that we work on.
So that's the conscious mind telling the subconscious.
Oh, look at you. I'm so impressed. You do pay attention.
I do. Actually, my new book is called The Power of the Subconscious Mind.
Beautiful.
And one thing I learned recently, because you do say these things, right? The subconscious doesn't know if they're true or not.
Correct.
And I think that's where the magic is. Talk about that a little bit, because if you tell the body the wrong thing, all the actions are after that, correct?
Absolutely, yeah. So in terms of thinking about how all of this works together, our mind, okay, the conscious mind is 5% of your brain activity. Think about that. What the heck is the other 95%? Your subconscious mind. Now, it's really good we have a subconscious mind.
I got chills when you say that. I'm like...
It's good we have one, because otherwise we'd stop breathing when we're sleeping, right? It's a good thing. But what the subconscious does is it responds to emotion. So whatever you feel, that's why if you remember The Secret, the book The Secret from back in the 80s, I think, maybe 90s, I don't know, it's going back. But it was all about the power of positive thinking and affirmations. And like I said, that's a spark. That's
what was
good.
it missing, though? Had to be it missing, because some people got good results, some didn't.
Right. You have to believe what you're saying, right? So if you think the positive thought, but you're like, there's no way I can't win, and you have so much emotion around not being able to win or not being able to succeed or I'm not good enough, that's what gets reinforced. And that's why it only worked for some people, because your belief and your emotions have to match the thought. Because the way the quantum field works is, like I said, you've got the electric spark, right, that brings the thought. That's the start. Everything starts with thought, so I don't want to dismiss that. But what reinforces the thought are your emotions and your beliefs. And so one of the things I teach when I'm working with people is, and coaching, obviously our team and our staff, is to always make sure that every morning and every night, that's when your subconscious mind is most active, right, when you sleep. So reinforcing how you feel about yourself, using statements like, I am. You know, I am powerful. I am successful. I am loved, right? Those things literally raise your vibration. So whether you do a formal, what I call a belief plan, or sacred soul script, where you're actually forecasting what you want, like writing it out as if it's already happened, right, with all the emotions. I'm sure you did that before today's broadcast, didn't you?
Absolutely.
Okay. You write out, you script out how you expect things to go and how you feel and who you're with. So one of the activities I'm going to suggest you do is, you know, since we're at the end of the year, it's a good time to kind of do the year in review. Pretend it's next year, next Christmas. Think about all of the things that you've accomplished during the year, all of the amazing things that happened to you, who you were with, the trips you took, how you did at work, who you spent time with, all the things that you loved and achieved. And you write it as if it's already happened with lots of emotion and feeling words, and then you see what happens during your year.
And that's different, just the traditional visualization, right?
Absolutely.
Because you're taking that a couple levels deeper, where you're writing it down, and you could always encourage me to see how it feels. Envision, and athletes have done this many times, right?
Oh, yeah.
You go way back, I remember I was watching the movie Miracle, where the young USA team took on the Russian powerhouse. And the coach got them to believe that they can do it. He said, if we played them 10 times, they would win 9. But not today. Not today. Not tonight. This is our time.
Yeah.
Right? And those words always stick in my head.
I have chills when you say that.
Yeah, me too. I'm like, my whole body. So this goes back, I hate to debate any of your research, but this goes back all the way to the early 1900s with Henry Ford.
Yes, that's true.
Because he says if a man or a woman think it, they can or cannot, they are right.
Absolutely.
And his whole thing was whatever you believe you can achieve, right? And at that time, people were looking for a faster horse. He said, no, we'll come out with a car, right? So I love that it's been backed up with science. The energy goes all the way back to acupuncture. And they found these points thousands of years ago, which have all been matched up today. And I love that exercise, right? Because you continually do it. I think some of the things in the past, I would do it, but then you keep saying, reinforcing to keep doing it. So when you're doing that plan, do you encourage to share that with anybody, or how do they do the plan and put it into place?
Well, one of the things, besides writing it out, right, and reading it, repetition is what we need. So if you ever studied brainwashing, okay? Yeah, this is interesting.
Yeah, I think we had some brainwashing recently.
Yeah, perhaps. Okay, so what do you do to brainwash someone? So in case you need to do this, any wives out there want to brainwash their husbands, here's the plan. Okay, the first thing is you isolate them, okay?
Where's your husband right now?
He's isolated in the hotel room.
Okay, good.
All right, you isolate them, you control the messaging, you repeat the messaging, and you reward with fear or love. That's how it's done. So you can do that in the positive to yourself, okay? You isolate yourself so you're quiet. That's one of the things that's probably the most critical thing for us to do is to get rid of distractions. Today we have so many, right? Between the internet and television, phones, all of the crazy electronics, people. That's why nature's so good, right? It gets you out and gets you less distracted. So eliminating those distractions. So have some alone time. The second thing is to control the messaging. What are you telling yourself? What are you reinforcing? What are your beliefs? So like I said, use those I am statements.
I love one of the things you taught me that I've actually implemented was that to do that first thing in the morning and at night, right? And the temptation is to run out of the house, get to the gym, get to work, kids, pets, whatever it may be, but actually scheduling that time has been very helpful for me.
Well, we have a tendency, just as humans, to take care of others, which is a great mission, right? We're focused on that, making the world healthy. But the first person you have to start with is you, right? The old analogy, put your mask on first, get oxygen to you before anybody else. It's really important. And we tend to put ourselves last, right? We're always focused on the other. And in order for us to be able to shift and be operating at our best peak performance, we really have to focus on ourselves. So again, alone, control your messaging, reinforce your messaging. That's the biggest piece. You've got to repeat it, right? So that it becomes a new belief. It becomes your natural state of being. And you reward yourself with love, right? We're not fear-based people, so it's all about love.
I know you practice what you preach.
I do.
Because when we were talking earlier this year, she visualized being a Florida State tennis champion. And lo and behold, congratulations to the state champion. I had Joe up here before, karate state champion.
Oh, goodness.
You're the tennis state champion. And tell us the exercise you did, because you did, months ago, have a bad hip.
Yep, right? It's true.
So we helped you with that.
So what did I do? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, and the visualization of actually doing this for the tennis championship. 'Cause I know that was so important, and you're so proud of that, and we're so proud for you. But you actually practice what you preach, and I think that's a key thing of this, right?
Well, one of the things I do, okay, we talk about putting yourself first. I am a big believer in chiropractic care, first off, okay? And I'm not just pandering to the crowd. It allows you to keep your physical body, your physical structure in alignment, okay? And that helps you stay healthy, right? One of the things that gets your immune system to crash quicker than anything else, I think, is being out of alignment. So if you can be in alignment, that really, really helps. So that was one of the things I did. I also had a flare-up of bursitis in one of my hips, okay? Because a lot of tennis movement is side to side.
And you're very active, because to have bursitis at your age, that's very unusual.
It's very kind, very kind,
very
my
unusual.
Friend. So it is. So what I did is I did a therapeutic dose of SPMs. I also took X-Flame, right, our X-Flame product, as well as our HA+. And I did that, I think, 3 of each twice a day, and knocked it out, I think, within 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And I actually had gone to my, what do you call him? What's the guy that takes care, like if you have to have surgery? Orthopedist. Yeah. Jiminy, couldn't even think. I went to him.
Well, good. We don't want to remember him or see him too frequently. We want to see Dr. Robach, Dr. Phil, chiropractor.
Exactly.
So good. We want to forget him.
So I went to him because I actually had a hip replacement a number of years ago, which is like a new ball and socket. So I actually do have a bionic hip. That could be part of the secret to my success. I don't know. And I wanted to make sure, because they give you this warning like, oh, if you had one done, you might have to get the other one. So I was like, ah. So I went and we did the x-ray. He's like, no, it's bursitis. And he says, do you want a cortisone shot? I'm like, no, I don't. And so then I got on our regimen of the SPMs, the HA+, and the X-Flame, and knocked it right out. So
yeah, and part of that is you're doing a shake a day. She eats a clean diet. She practices all the mind, body, and spirit, and the soul intelligence. And, I think the other thing that probably helps you, too, is sharing that with other people and then seeing their progress. So it reminds me a lot of working out. Right?
Yes.
So when I first met you, I was like, oh, this is a lot. Like, how do I start? Right?
Yep.
So can you bring it back to like a beginner level? Because I'm still at that tail end of beginner. Like, how do people do this? I know you mentioned each day scheduling, but what are some more things they can incorporate? And, is that something they can reach out to you? How does it work?
Sure. Well, I mean, first of all, like I said, I would encourage everybody to have some sort of a daily practice and put yourself first. Give yourself that time and space, right? So whether you like to meditate or pray, to me, they go hand in hand, right? Praying is putting the energy out and asking the divine or a greater power what you want. And meditating is receiving the messages. So being open to listening and receiving. So whether you do that, you journal, you go out in nature, but you've got to give yourself some quiet time to get into the habit. Now, one of my personal missions is being able to teach other people about the power of soul intelligence and how to do some of the energy work, shifting and clearing and bringing in good stuff. And so in January, because I don't have enough to do, I know this is very dangerous sharing. This is my book where I have a book of charts and a pendulum. I'm actually going to be teaching other healthcare professionals and healers how to use my methodology in concert with all of these great things that we've talked about, so that they can start to add this to their practice and help people really heal at the root cause
Yeah,
level.
I know you work with some healthcare professionals, Jacqueline Shedden, Dr. Lisa Coach. And if you're a healthcare professional out there looking for some more guidance, you can reach out to Kristine. What's the best way for them to contact you or to even watch some of your incredible videos? Because I go right to YouTube.
That's the YouTube channel works. I have stuff on Facebook and LinkedIn. But certainly you can reach me here at Nutritional Frontiers or the World of Wellness. I have my own website, Kristine, at KristineGleinCoaching.com. So if you're interested, like I said, I'm teaching this course one night a week, like an adjunct faculty member, like all my years in higher ed. Tuesday evenings, starting in the middle of January. So if you're interested, I'd be happy to share with you.
We got a question from a professional in the audience, Dr. Gideon Orbach. Before you say anything, congrats to Dr. Orbach on his 20-year anniversary of chiropractic. This guy has helped, I would say, tens of thousands, if not 100,000 people at
Easily.
this point, and doing a great job. Thanks, Doc.
Yeah, he's helped both of us personally.
I don't really have a question so much as I want to add an endorsement.
Uh-oh.
Come on down.
I'm this is just so awkward speaking into the camera and being on TV to my left. I want to just endorse what Kristine is saying here. As a professional, thanks. As a professional healthcare provider, I mean, there's a chiropractor on every third street corner, and the ones that don't have chiropractors have physical therapy clinics, and it might be a nutritionist. I mean, you can't walk 3 blocks without having your choice of which healthcare practitioner do I want to see, and what do they bring to the table, and what can they offer. And when we talk about the subconscious mind and the science behind it, there's 3 trillion bits of information going on in your brain at every single second. Mm-hmm. Now, hopefully, each and every single one of you are very well aware that I'm standing up here next to Kristine. There's a bit of information for you. I'm wearing a white lab coat. There's a bit of information number 2. Now we're at 3 trillion minus 2, which is just too big of a number for me to process yet. And of those 3 trillion bits of information, approximately 50 of them are conscious. And this is very, very well documented in scientific literature, in the Indicus Medicus, through university lab testing where people actually do tests and studies and don't rattle off information in book reports. But one of the books that was a big influence on me is The Neurophysics of Human Behavior. The authors are Furman and Gallo. It's this
That thick.
it's not light reading.
Yeah.
So here's the synopsis. 3 trillion bits of information per second, 50 of them are conscious. So if you're a healthcare professional and you're thinking like, how am I going to compete in the marketplace? How am I going to be able to offer yet another dynamic to my patients? How am I going to be able to get a little bit more approval in my community? What am I going to add to my bag of tricks? I can't say this emphatically enough. Learning how to do a little bit of marriage of the subconscious mind with the conscious mind, and using that as a tool in order to further benefit your patient and to enhance their outcomes. I mean, just to have this, the soul, and I'm not going to hold your book up.
That's okay.
I really should.
That's okay.
Just in terms of the resources that are available to us as a community of healthcare pros, like how could you not at least arch your eyebrows and say, I want to learn more when Kristine is talking and advocating for what she does and how it can benefit us as a collective community.
Thank you, Doc. That's very sweet. Oh, thank you. Well, I really appreciate the opportunity to share with you the importance of how everything works together, right? Mental health, emotional health, physical health, spiritual health, in essence, energetic health, okay? And as an energetic being, or a spiritual being expressing as a human being at this time, I'm really excited to be able to bring the power of soul intelligence to other people. I think it's like the next Reiki on steroids, and it really helps shift things that are holding you back, things that you're not even aware of that are stuck in your subconscious mind. It's like a very specific form of prayer where we ask to release certain things. And inevitably, once people have done a soul intelligence session with me, they find relief immediately. But I'm only one person, and so my personal mission is to teach others how to use this modality in concert with so many of the other natural healing therapies we know are available. So if it calls to you, it speaks to you, you want to learn more, I'm happy to set aside a free 30-minute soul intelligence discovery session. Again, if you're interested in finding out, you can reach me, Kristine Glein, on Facebook, on LinkedIn, or YouTube. You can also email me at Kristine@KristineGleinCoaching.com, and I'll be happy to set up a 30-minute session to be able to talk to you a little bit more about the methodology and how it works. So I am very, very excited about everything going on here at the World of Wellness and Nutritional Frontiers, and it's super exciting to me to share in the mission of making the world healthy, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and energetically. So I wish everybody a wonderful, happy holiday, a wonderful holiday season, regardless of what holiday you celebrate. And we hope very much that you'll come down to the World of Wellness if you're in the Pittsburgh area and join us today, because we have incredible sessions scheduled all week, an amazing sale. We have incredible practitioners here that are able to help you shift in the physical, mental, and emotional arenas. So wishing everybody a happy holiday.